Welcome to SSDD's studio. In our next conversation, we will meet two designers, one designing games and the other designing reality, both thinking about the future.
We will learn more about the conditions required for a good work environment. One has written a book about it, the other one has started a collective where game designers both live and work in the same place. We welcome Niklas Madsen from Superlab and James Newnorth from Spelkollektivet in the talk Let's Get Closer, Designing for Games versus Reality.
Hello, nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you again. Yes. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So we had a little pre-talk before we enter on here to the stage, talking about that. Yesterday we released our book, our new book, Disruptive Future, but we did not release it in a physical form. We released it in Metaverse, so you could actually use VR glasses to flip the book in a 3D world. And from our perspective, where we come, we've been using physical worlds to play with, of course, because we do a lot of interior design and physical objects like furniture and so on. And our discussion a little bit, you have a game design background. And what do you think? Is this going to be somewhat of the future, what we did last night, or what do you see in front of you?
Yes, definitely. And that's something like COVID brought to us even faster, is that because we all have this sense of where we want to meet up and we want to talk to each other. We need to exchange knowledge because it's such a wide area. And so the digital conferences, for example, blowing up. You're seeing more and more digital worlds where you're trying to replicate a physical space where you would normally meet and shake hands to like now be in a digital space to do the exact same thing. So it's and attending some of these, you very quickly notice like, hey, maybe it's more than just game design you need to create these physical virtual spaces.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the trends that we have seen of research papers and everything what we have read is that gamers today are in our age, 40s, around-ish there, 35, 45, and we have been playing games for early on in our younger years. So for us to go into a virtual world, to have a meeting with our avatar, it's not a big deal. It's going to become natural for us, and it's going to become something we want to have, what we believe at least. Well, what do you think? Is that something that you see is happening slowly and slowly?
Definitely. Like kids, young age, they understand tech. Like you can give almost a baby an iPad and they will figure it out. And they're like years in front of us, like where we were at that age. Because hey, when I was 12 years old, I didn't even have a mobile phone, and now you have your own computers and everything. So yes. People growing up today and people who did grow up a few years ago, they're used to the tech. They're used to like, okay, we're doing more digitally.
Yeah.
So and with the years going on, it's just growing and growing, and the market is just getting bigger for it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, my daughter is teaching me like 3D metaverse worlds. Like, how do you have your clothes? What you should buy, what you shouldn't buy, tools, everything. So my 12-year-old is teaching me because she has already 5 years experience in Metaverse. And for me now, when it becomes closer and closer, where clients starts asking us for a digital twin of their office, I need to learn. Even though I've used in the gaming world somewhat, but not in her level where it's so much more. So I see a lot of our projects, and definitely design schools when it comes to interior design, product design. You need to learn the digital world as you need to learn the physical world from my perspective at least. So and how much do you guys interfere with the physical world in your projects?
Well, my whole concept with Spelkollektivet is built around like people living across the world trying to like find people to connect with physically. And but what we all do, like physically together, is basically create virtual worlds to connect other people physically or virtually as well. And yeah,
Because
so,
you guys, you have a house.
yeah, exactly.
It's like a co-working space / co-living.
yeah, a big house in the middle of the forest. So and yeah, and I can't. I always think about like, should we create a digital version of the house
Yeah,
and
of course you
try
have
to
to.
expand into the
Yeah.
metaverse? Because
Yeah.
we do have some people in the house working with this type of things on a daily basis. So
There you go.
yeah,
We'll
it's-
come and help you guys do the interior for your digital house.
I think you're gonna have a heart attack if you see what I do to the place.
Yeah. No. But that is also something that is very interesting for us, is that the perspective of how things should be. I know we talked about this, that you said that you guys, when you do an interior for a room digitally, you try to have as less physical digital objects, many objects as possible in a room for you not to trip around and things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where when we work, we have a lot of it's function.
Yeah.
Of course, aesthetics, but also a lot of function. So there's two different mindsets that probably needs to be reevaluated when they need to integrate between each other.
Yeah. And how you interact with the objects, for example. Some questions has to be answered, like, do we really want to interact with objects the way we do in a real life? Like, I see this all the time with especially new VR developers. They're starting up their projects and they're like, suddenly you're gonna, I'm gonna pick up this object from the floor. Do I really want to bend over to pick up an object from the floor? Can't we try to merge these? Like, what if we gamified it? What if I just pointed at it and I whipped it up?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to go beyond what's real as well, because take the advantage of like best of both worlds here. Like, you're creating a digital world based on real life, but hey, make it fun as well.
Yeah. I have actually a small video of a company in Silicon Valley that have created their office space in Roblox. And it's a Monday meeting. It's a video they have on YouTube. And one of the guys decides to hang upside down in the ceiling during the meeting. And one guy is half in between a wall somewhat. And he talks about his party, what he did last night. And it's so amusing to watch because they have detached the real world and taken it real, like digital in what they do. And what happens creativity-wise with us, what happens with us, emotionally, collaborative and everything. There's so many things that opens up when you play a little bit and let go. And gamification should be a word here, probably something that you playfulness around it. You use it as a playful tool somehow.
Exactly.
And that I see is something that is very interesting in definitely how you can perceive. But how long until you think that we will see a huge, corporation company when they will have a digital twin of their office? Where in the time span do you think we are?
I think we already have that. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that Facebook does, because they're swerving their whole business into Meta today. So they even rebranded themselves. They're looking to get everything into VR. And I said that the same as well as when they bought the Oculus. I knew that they're taking Facebook into the metaverse. They're gonna build everything in VR later because everybody's already connected together. Why not just connect everybody like physically in the digital world as well?
Yeah.
So I think Facebook is really gonna try to push on this and try to get everybody to be in a secondary world.
Yeah.
And so I can see them already having their offices fully virtual.
Yeah, and my perspective also, in a 2-3 years ahead, the physical office and the digital office will be as important as of each other.
Yes.
And just of interest, there was a pair of Oculus glasses we used yesterday in the Facebook Meta office space that they have created too, and a bunch of clients that came up and tried it out, and they had never used them before. And suddenly, when he took them off, he's like, "Oh my God! What possibilities we could do with this in the future if we bought a bunch of glasses. He saw so many new business opportunities. I think if you just try it, you're going to also see, that you don't have to be that resistant of what's happening.
Yes.
Because the big change is another thing. The digitalization of going from 2D to 3D. What is your perspective of there? What's happening socially? Because a lot of people, they are only 2D and being on social media today, but slowly transforming over to 3D.
I think it's gonna require the tech, the hardware itself to become better first, and it's getting there. There are very good experiments out there that the public hasn't seen the light of yet, because they're just too expensive to reproduce, and you gotta make it as cheap or cheaper than a phone, basically. When it's so cheap that everybody can have it, you can give it away, and it feels like you need it. And then you can put it on, and it doesn't hinder you. Like the day we could have it, I know Sony has been, and Google as well, has been pushing for the eyewear, for example, having it directly in your glasses already. They've been pushing with that for almost 10 years now, and it's
Apple has something. There's rumors of Apple doing Apple Glass now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's getting closer and closer. It just needs to get cheaper and better as well. And the demos they have are awesome. I remember Sony's demo. You get into the airport, and it automatically knows. Okay, it knows which tickets you have, because you have that on your phone, and then you just walk around, and it's like, okay, it's over here. I need to go, because it just shows you exactly where to navigate in the airport. Amazing. So when that is accessible and easy for everyone to use, then it's. Yeah, then everybody's gonna do it, of course. So, and we're gonna get there. It's just, the hardware needs to be there, and the battery tech needs to be better. Everything, but it's coming.
Yeah, and that is something that what you just said right now is you realize that you can imagine all the things that are gonna happen, but we're still working with hardware and technology that needs to follow that evolution somehow. And even though we believe things are going fast, it's not going that fast, even though if you're in it and playing around and working with it. But it's true. I also believe that pretty soon we're going to have technology-wise that's going to help us in AR and VR to do things much faster and better around us. We just see in cars what's coming more and more. Especially, I know there's companies here in Malmö that have hand gestures to, pick up, point, do things VR-wise. So I believe that we're gonna come there very soon, where things are gonna change drastically.
Exactly.
And especially also now with 5G, getting more and more evolved around. So I think that we're gonna have faster internet. It's gonna be a big thing. That things are gonna make, it's gonna be possible to do things definitely.
Yeah, and the big push for sustainability and solar power and everything like that, once we can get that into our micro devices and optimize battery even more, thanks to we want to store more and more energy, and obviously lithium isn't good enough, so we have to find new solutions, and when we find those, it's on.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that for sure, from my perspective and for your perspective, it's definitely clear that these two worlds will interact more and more.
Yes.
That there is a physical world, but there will also be a digital world. And how it's going to be in the future, we don't know. But that there's going to be a lot of different varieties of it. It's pretty clear from both of us when we have discussed now and before also.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there came out, if Facebook, for example, would try to come out with some kind of standard format to try to bring all these different digital worlds into one big hub, where you can create your own thing, you can have it yourself, but as long as you use this format, you can seamlessly go through, exit your office into their office, etc. Yeah. So, because the difficulty is when everybody's doing their own specific solution, then it doesn't work well together. But if we can work together, it can be an even better solution.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe that now when I know Ralph Lauren, they open a clothing store in Sapito and Roblox also. And day one, they had sold over 100,000 digital clothes. I mean, when brands like that starts to entering, I know Nike, Gucci, all of them are opening stores digitally now.
Yes.
So I think that that is going to be the big entrance for a lot of other people that are not gamers and whatnot what they work with, but it's going to be a introduction for them also to a digital world.
Yeah, and not only for digital products as well. Like we already have seen with well, latest but where you can customize your car on the website, etc. Like soon enough, you will be doing, if you're not already, you will be doing that in VR, where you can actually sit down in your car and customize how you want the dashboard, etc. And put your car in different environments. Okay, how will the color of my car feel like it at the streets of New York, and how would it feel like out in the forest? Like, and same thing. I already see that with bikes as well. Like, you wanna try to test it out as much as you can before you buy it, and why not do that digitally?
Yeah, yeah, and I think we're there. I mean, I believe Tesla is gonna come any day now with something, because they are one of the first that really introduced, buying online a car. So I believe that soon you're gonna be able to sit, as you say, virtually and pick your choices basically of what you believe. But I think that definitely we can see that we're working more and more with digital tools in general, where not only as a tool but as a solution. And that is something that I see is just gonna progress more and more, definitely in our physical world. So we are entering more into your world, definitely. But is there anything where you see that you guys are slowly entering into the physical world more?
I mean, we've always been sort of mix and matching. You always if you create a big expansive world with its lore, you want to try to bring it out in the real world as well as much as possible, in the form of you can do board games, you can do like miniatures, you try to recreate some of the key the key element, like this is typical of this game, and you want that as a real physical object. And so there's plenty of people who enjoy decorating their home as if it was from the game that they love. So
yeah, and that is something I truly believe, that even though we're going more digitally, I don't think we can totally detach ourselves from physical stuff. But for instance, we have a lot of projects going on where digital twin is the big topic. And that could be anything. And we have been working, I mean, when we are drawing a new table, for instance, we design it digitally. But it's only for construction, to basically produce it. And also to redesign with the digital product in a digital world. But then it stops. It stops there. And that is probably the next step of things. In our perspective, that will be used for digital twin, for them to go in and have meetings in our 3D object we have created. Maybe. That's the process I see in front of me, at least.
I mean, that's a whole market in the game dev industry, and not only in the game dev industry. It's like selling assets. Like, someone has to make a table, and there's only so many tables that needs to be designed of the same style. So you have some people who just make 3D models of tables, and then you purchase them to put in your game, right? And it's to me, it's kind of weird that not more actual furniture designers and such take the time, because they already do the 3D models, as you said. Like, why not take the time to make it available for developers and such to buy it digitally to use in their games as well? Because it's extra. Like, there's companies they make all their money selling these assets, and it could just be like it's a good extra income, at least for a furniture designer as well. So I think that could be really cool.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, this is something we've been talking about, connecting the BIM object to NFT, so you can track it and actually earn money of the object, basically, to track it. So yeah, that is something that is, it's weird that probably somebody out there has already been doing this, but not that more designers from our perspective are doing it. As you said, it's a world that's just laying there very close,
Yeah.
and it's simultaneously happening,
Yeah.
but you're not using it in the same time. So
Yeah.
very, very interesting. But how do you see is evolution-wise in the gaming industry? What do you see 5 years ahead of you? Where are things going? What is happening?
What is happening? Yes. I feel like the gaming industry goes like forward and backwards. Because I
Okay.
feel like the big AAA studios are pushing one direction, and for every time they push forward in a direction, like with open world, it has to be this, it has to be that. There's all the
Direction.
it's all the
reaction,
people
yeah.
who grew up with the games in the previous generation going like, but we want this, and then you have like the smaller studios going that way, and then like so it goes back and forth. But I definitely think that we will see more. I think like in general, I think we'll hopeful. What I would want to see in 5 years is to see more games work together, sharing items, sharing objects, sharing, like, because to me that makes the game live on. Like, what if the game is not only here? What if I can bring something with me to the next game or to another game?
I am accidentally in this game, so I can move on with my assets and things to other games.
Exactly. So I think to me that would be an exciting future. Make it more persistent. Make the player feel like they actually have their stuff and they can bring it with them when they travel through the digital world.
And that's a little bit what Web 3.0 is based on.
Yes.
The decentralization of, the personal stuff you want to own as much as your stuff by yourself digitally on the web, and you want to own your assets that you have in one game and bring it with you.
Yes.
So yeah, very interesting, and that I totally agree. That's what I see in front of me. Also, what's happening from internet, not a gaming perspective, but in general, internet perspective also, and how we work with our tools digitally and everything. That is something that I see in front of me also. That is probably the evolution. What's going on in our world? I see in front of me that we're going more and more towards, as I said before, we need to learn more of the digital worlds to understand what is happening, what is the evolution, what's going on. And I think that there's a lot of architects, a lot of interior designer, a lot of product designer that are not used to the digital world in that sense. They're used to it in a different way, as I said before. They were used to working in it as a tool, but not using it in a different way as in the gaming world. And if they need to interact with each other, I believe that we need to have a bigger understanding of what's going on in Metaverse, in the gaming world, in evolution of what's happening around us. So that is something that we are studying, and we have been studying for a while now to understand, okay, where are we? What's happening when these two are interacting with each other? And to see how can you involved with it.
Exactly. Find all the opportunities that are there, because there's a lot of opportunities digitally, and I think there's a lot of room for like designers, like the normal designer to bring to the gaming world and the digital world. It's just that they just need to be introduced to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think that NFT, blockchain, the connection of things so you can track it, how is that connected to the gaming world? Or is it connected, I should say, probably?
I mean, there's plenty of companies and people who wants it to be, and it's a very divisive question in this industry. So NFT, unfortunately, do have a bad rep, and I can't say whether or not it deserves it. But the underlying technology and concept is very interesting. But it just needs to get a better reputation, maybe. I guess that's the main issue when it comes to within the gaming sphere, and especially with smaller game developers. They can have quite a stance against it. But there's so many other things that is like that isn't NFT or blockchain related that designers also could be involved in. So,
But is it something that the gaming industry would love to basically get involved with, because it's more or less that you have a 3D object that you can sell it, and you have a ID that you can track on that specific object and actually earn money on it.
yeah, there's plenty of those, especially I think especially in trading card games. It's a very big thing, because typically when you would play trading card games in real life, you would have like Magic the Gathering, for example. You will have these physical cards, and the drawback of that is that they do get damaged. Like when you're handling them, when you're playing with them or trading, there's wear and tear, and being able to have that physically, it reduces the chance of that.
Yeah.
And so more and more games are coming into it, and so yeah, I can definitely see it happening. And
Why do you think the NFT has a bad reputation, and what do you think it's underlined for that?
I don't feel like I've read into it enough in this case, but I think it's mainly people are worried about the environmental effect of it, because there is the rumors that it does require a lot of energy to make the transactions, to verify that it is correct, like you do actually own or own this object. Whether that's true or not, I can't say, because it feels like there's evidence on both directions.
Yeah,
So, but right now people are very concerned about the environment, rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but I think that it's just the first step either way. Like we're gonna get there, we're gonna find better solutions, and it's good to not be ignorant about the possibility of it, just because maybe this first iteration maybe isn't the optimal one. It's coming there.
Yeah.
So it's good to get into it and know what it's about. So when it's the market is ready for it, and the technique, the tech is there for real, it's just
then it's something to go for.
well, you want to be there before it happens as
Yeah.
well, of course. So it's like you don't want to be there when it already spiked.
Yeah.
You want to be there when it spikes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I mean, right now and for the past couple of months, it has been one of the biggest things in the US. I mean, there's not one single celebrity that doesn't own an NFT
yes,
of a monkey or whatever it could be,
Yeah.
something like that. So, but it in the same time, it feels like that it's a prototype stage situation right now, where a lot of things are happening and it's evolving right now. But you know, as the web did one time, it burst, and a lot of people believe that this will burst also now.
Yes.
That the bubble will burst and it will re-land or reevaluate itself and become something else. So yeah, that's very interesting to hear what your thoughts in that. And connected games, blockchain, is there any connection today?
Not that I know of, or depends on. Like, for example, Valve does do some of these things already, because technically what Valve did with like Dota and Counter-Strike and such, and they have their marketplace where you can own digital items and you can sell them and stuff. And it's it's the opposite in the form of like, yeah, everything is on their servers, but other than that, it's basically NFTs and blockchain.
Yeah.
You own a digital thing which you can sell and resell, and you can trade it, and then you can activate that in your game to get some customizable thing for your character, for example. So, and the difficulty when it comes to games with that is that each game is very unique, usually. So if I would like to bring in, like, okay, let's say I own a shirt in my game and I want to bring this shirt into another game, the characters can look very different, and they have like a different interpretation of, okay, what is a shirt and how should a shirt look like, and what is gray.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to come to a point where we can abstract the technique and design more, where it's more like, which we're getting to with machine learning and AI as well, where we can just give them keywords of like, this is what we got, I want this, and then the computer world can generate parts of that, and that way it's way easier to bring. Okay, gray shirt with logo on it. Okay, and now it can generate that in the other game into their how they designed it and how they want it graphically, without them physically having to actually design the model for it.
To redo it, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I think we're gonna get there with machine learning and AI eventually. Actually.
Yeah.
So,
Do you guys design utilities? I mean, do you guys have shirts? The gray shirt. Do you guys have it?
I mean, are you
That
talking
you-
in game or?
Yeah, in games, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Physically, yes, but
yes,
of course, yeah. Also.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, so a lot of people in the house that's designing their games, they do a lot of research into like styles and cultures and such. Like we have one woman who's working on a game about Egyptian history, so she's going through all the books and all the everything she can find about like okay, how did people dress back then, in order to recreate that in 3D models and such to dress up her characters in the game.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of research that actually goes into like how do people actually dress, and then if of course it's the trade-off like yeah, we can't make it always look realistic because we're gonna have a lot of people walking around and it's a lot of vertices and triangles to make it work. So so we're trying to like okay, how can we represent this style and art?
But do you guys bring it in physically to your house?
Oh,
Do you guys bring in physical objects?
some
to
people
create
do,
them?
yeah. Some people do with the help of photogrammetry.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
So where we just put it up and then we like try to take as many photos as possible from every angle, so we can basically 3D scan it into the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely that happens, and that is a thing that's happening more and more. There's a Swedish company that specializes in this, and they were recently bought, maybe a year or two ago, by Epic Games, which is they provide one of the biggest game engines out there, Unreal Engine, and their whole thing is that they photograph nature, stones, rocks, big buildings, and then here's real life
can use it,
objects, and you
yeah.
can use this in your game.
That's interesting how the physical is being used into the 3D world. Yeah. Okay, we got the sign that we're getting cut off here. But thank you for the discussion. Really interesting,
Yes.
as always. And thank you guys for listening. Thank you.